I was just reminiscing on really everything through my 20s, moving to LA, again, thinking about downtime, but never actually having this downtime and just constantly feeling these different pressures. And writing, singing is just like relief for me. I guess that's my downtime, like when I actually am able to record. The writing doesn't feel like downtime as much either, but.
I turn, but this is nothing like before.
The song inspiration behind Downtime, I was really stressed out and had a lot going on in terms of like work, relationship, and then I was in London, and so that felt like a bit of a break from my normal day-to-day life. And then so I was talking to my cousin just about like all of these feelings and just like feeling stressed and like wanting to make it as well and not having any like time to myself, hence Downtime. So I started just like writing a little bit every day while I was in London about what it feels like to actually have some peace and time to myself, and why that also feels really hard. It feels like I never actually have downtime, and I feel like that's kind of actually where the title came about, Downtime.
I feel like Downtime, like from a production standpoint, is kind of a perfect mix of everyone in the room, like who was involved there. We were in Lake Arrowhead, and it was this, like we booked this Airbnb. We actually had to leave early because there was like a storm warning, and I always hear Downtime and I kind of like takes me right back to that specific Airbnb. There are like these open windows, and I think Dan Mayer started like this kind of guitar loop thing, and it kind of just influenced each of us to add our own element to it. It has a very kind of like open, kind of vast sound that I feel like captured the room very well because it's like an A-frame place, and it also had like views of like, I can't remember if it was like the forest or an actual lake or something. But when we left, I remember thinking of that one as like, oh yeah, that kind of like felt like where we were. And also it just felt like there was like a guitar thing. It's like reverbed out that I played that's like, bling, you know, it comes in like on beat 2 or something. And then Ian on drums like did a little like cymbal thing, and it just felt like everything kind of lined up perfectly, and you can hear the character of each person within the lines. And then Dan like also added this bass line that's very unique to his style, and I just feel like it's a good like mix of all of us and came together really nice. And obviously when Toby started, you know, rapping on it and singing on it, it was just like the perfect kind of closing loop of the whole song. We didn't overproduce or anything, which I feel like is something that we tend to do. So this one was like nice and easy, nice and open.
Fortuno's normal sound, I think, is a blend of like a lot of different sounds. I think we're trying to, incorporate different genres into the same song or try new sounds with other sounds that may not normally go together. And it sort of changes from song to song, but with Downtime in particular, kind of like a soft guitar, acoustic start, washed out guitar sounds. The drums are sort of soft and laid back, and I don't think the listener is expecting like a rapping part, especially from our band. It's not like a sound that we employ often. And so that in and of itself is like a pretty good representation of not the only sound that we have, but the type of sound that we try and aim for. Personally, I like to sort of fit in the space that other people may not be taking up. I'm not trying to like take up a lot of space, but I'm trying to fill in some of the gaps of where things I think could be helped, could be supported more.
The writing process for Downtime was pretty funny actually. I'm talking about Downtime, how I desire it, but when writing it, I just didn't have that downtime that I was speaking of. Downtime, but there's never a stop. When the little things feel like a lot. Me and myself, it's been a while. Time it takes to get there. Time you make if you care. Time will make it all clear. So yeah, I was in London and I would come back after my 9 to 5 and try to write a little bit, but I always had these different plans, whether it be with my family, friends who were visiting, or the company was having like a bunch of different activities here and there. But when I finally did make the time, I tried to just talk about things that were just really within like my past month, so to speak. Endo got married, shit crazy man, we was just kids. On the Amtrak to the city, reminiscing on life these past few years. Like, how could it be? Look at old me, sort of living out the dream. This is my stop, but I'm really about to start. So right before I went to London, I had gone to my friend's wedding in upstate New York, and that really had me just for the first time just thinking about my future life, you know, or just like, what am I doing kind of thing. I mean, that's a question that probably a lot of people in their late 20s face. That was the first time I think it was really like pressing on me, like, damn, all right, I need to like think more about the future. Weddings can do that. I'm sure they do that to a lot of people. And it's so funny. I was at his wedding and I showed him a video of literally us as like 13-year-olds. We were just like idiots for so long. And now to see him in this stage where his love is just like so beautiful. He actually is a kid now. It's just like, I mean, we're just in different phases of life for sure. And you compare yourself too. It's like you compare yourself, a lot of late 20-year-olds probably do the same. Yeah, so I was just reminiscing on really everything through my 20s, moving to LA. Again, thinking about downtime, but never actually having this downtime and just constantly feeling these different pressures. And writing, singing is just like relief for me. I guess that's my downtime, like when I actually am able to record. The writing doesn't feel like downtime as much either, but.
Where does Downtime sit in the story of Fortuno as a band? Personally, I feel like it's a step into the direction of kind of like more live performance, live music, live instruments. When we went to Lake Arrowhead, it was kind of the first time that we sort of got out of LA, got out of the house of like the home studio setup where we're like programming drums and we're just crowded in the sweaty room. And it was like this open thing. We had the drums set up, everything mic'd up, and it felt more organic. And I think that like there's an element to that I really miss from today's music that I feel like we brought out really well in Downtime. And I feel like it's a direction that we are kind of going as a band. Like I feel like we're kind of graduating to being able to communicate with other musicians, or at least bringing that element out that's always been true to music for all these years that we kind of lost for a while here, and we're kind of like bringing that back as a band. And I like that direction that we're going for sure.
I view Downtime as a personal favorite of mine. One of my personal favorites in the Fortuno catalog. When the album came out, it was one of the songs that I was listening to. I was always listening to it before the album came out, and I was like, oh, I have to like go to my messages, and then I have to like scroll up and click on the messages. I have to make sure my phone doesn't turn off. I was really excited that it was on Spotify because I could, or Apple Music or wherever you listen. Sort of rare for me to listen to a Fortuno song once it's out, like on repeat. I just love the blending and the collaboration. I think Toby's work on it is amazing, so a big fan of it as a listener.
I hope that people are able to just step back for a second, absorb the song, listen, and try to relate to it, especially in a time where everything is just so stimulating in so many places. We're always scrolling. We always have things to do. I know I definitely feel that way. And it's hard to like stay focused on something for over like 30 seconds. And with songs, honestly, like nobody wants to hear songs that's like over 2 minutes anymore. And this song's like 4 minutes or so. I really just want people to sit with it, listen, calm down, and yeah, breathe.